Hello everybody and welcome to this second episode of Auto Exposed. Today we have a different topic than last time. Last time we talked a lot about camera rumors, right?
Yes.
Since IBC was just like a few weeks ago, we thought about let's summarize what gear was announced and what do we think about it, and we also have one of these cameras here which we will show live. Yeah, and happy to have you here. So as always, if you have any further questions, just drop them in the comments below. Well, hello there. Hello, Robin. Yeah, so I think
let's start with the first topic.
All right.
So the first topic, as maybe some of you already found out, that Tilta developed their own camera card, and the new camera card is now available. And Paulie had the chance to have a look at it at the post-IBC event from Teltec. And yeah, Paulie, let's give me some information about that beautiful thing.
So we started with a little bit of a smallerish item in this case. So, but I think what's really cool about that one is, at least it's the first one that I've seen that is totally foldable. So you can see it right here, some clips I took at Hamburg at post IBC from Teltec. So you have different accessories that you can rig on the sides and stuff like that, so however you want to configure it. So yeah, and for me it looked really nice. And yeah, the great thing is, as I've said, that you can fold it down to be like, I think this of a total height, which is absolutely cool. Or what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a cool thing, because if you have a look at, I think Adicam is another big player in the camera card market. So I think it's cool to have a design which is versatile, because yeah, we all know when we're going to shoots, the car is fully packed to the top. And I think a lot of people, a lot of filmmakers, I think the smaller filmmaker crews or whatever, they don't have the necessary space in a transporter or a car or whatever to take the card and put it in there completely rigged already. So I think it's a crucial thing to have a card which is already, in a small form factor and transportation wise. That's a nice thing to have, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think like, especially if you have a smaller car, you don't have a bus or transport or something like that, it's pretty cool that you can just fold it down, and then when you arrive on set or on location, you can fold it out, can rig everything out, and then you're ready to rock and roll. But also it also fits the other need, that when you have a big car and you have enough space, you can already load it in, rigged out, everything is there where you need it. Yeah. So yeah, I think from the first sight it looked really cool. I was pretty excited about it, and also price-wise, it's not too bad actually.
No, it's not too bad. I think the basic version is around 1,200 euros or $1,200. And I think the indie version, you get some accessories like I think a monitor mount and some brackets and all that stuff. I think that goes around for 1,500 or so. But I think the price is pretty good in that, because if you look at the competitors, they're twice as expensive as the version Tilta announced. So yeah, that's a cool thing. And I think for that price, a lot of people are considering if they should get one or not, because we all know that a camera card like that is so nice to have on a set. And I think we both agree on that point, that having a good solid thing to mount a camera, to drop stuff, to move stuff around. So we have a quick and dirty solution we use to transport our gear. But I think to have a solid, good, well developed solution is quite good to have.
Yeah, and actually that counts for all the product, not all, but most of them that we are talking about today. If you want to see them live in person, then I can highly suggest coming to the Creator Summit
Yeah.
in 17th of January in Bayreuth, so in the Nuremberg, Munich area in Germany. Pretty cool event. We have loads of creators there, brands like Canon, Sony, Blackmagic, Nikon, Lumix. So yeah, it will be pretty cool. We have workshops as well as some speeches about different topics. So yeah, come. It will be great. Ticket sales online. Creators-summit.de. You can check it out.
But I think we should mention that that whole event is for German speakers. So
Yes.
it's not in English, so everybody should know that if you're going to the Creator Summit, which is a pretty cool event, and we put in a lot of effort, a lot of work. It's pretty hard, but
It's happening for the second time.
Yeah.
So, and we are pretty excited. So just as a side note.
Yeah.
So shall we go on?
We should go on, and the next topic I got here is Fujifilm. Yeah, the last years that was already a thing. So Fujifilm said, yeah, we're doing a cinema camera, and it's going to be awesome. And it went on and on and on, and nothing happened. And right now, there it is.
Yeah, so they already announced it, I think almost like a year ago, something like that. And you can see some mock-ups on shows and stuff like that. And yeah, it looks like a pretty solid camera, I would say. Yeah, it has a medium format sensor.
That's crazy.
So pretty big, just as the GFX 100. So yeah, the sensor is basically the same, but we have obviously a bigger body that you can rig things on and out. So you have your ins and outs and all that stuff. Yeah, I don't know about the rolling shutter. So from what I've heard, it should be severe, I would say. I don't have any exact numbers, but yeah, I mean like high resolution, big sensor, go open gate.
Yeah, that's great. It's a 44 times 33 millimeter sensor, 102 megapixel. That's crazy for a cinema camera.
Yeah.
So that's something you would find in a high budget photo camera, because for product photos or whatever, that's a nice thing to have. But I think, is it necessary to have it in a cinema camera?
I mean, when you see like the whole industry with the Alexa 65 and stuff like that, so everything is sometimes moving in that direction. So that was actually a pretty clever idea. And I think we have to see how it works with the rolling shutter, if it's that bad. Davision is already saying use like line skipping and binning. So yeah, so these are things that we have to check out. I think what's cool is that we have a ND inside, right?
Yeah, variable END, which is pretty cool. And I think it goes from about 2 to 7 stops of ND. So that's a cool thing to have. And I saw it online just some hours ago, how the ND is working, and it's working pretty seamlessly.
So is it? There are no solid NDs, so it's like crystals, like Sony.
Yeah, I think it's something like a crystal, so you can go through the ND stops pretty smooth. So you have a small dial. I think it's also located on the top handle, and you can turn that dial. It has some different user things as well, but one is the ND, and you can turn it, and the ND is going up or down. So it's pretty smooth.
I mean, what the whole benefit or the whole, I think, advantage of Fuji is that they have, so they made their own film stocks, so they have great colors, great filmic colors. So, and they also put that into that camera. So colors should be amazing, and you should get like a whole filmic feeling. And from what you've seen online from the images, they just looked amazing. But yeah, we'll have to test it.
Yeah, maybe Fujifilm is sending us one through.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the good thing is that Fujifilm is including a PL to G mount adapter because the camera is just available in G mount. So you get the PL adapter with the camera. So that's a good thing. So
yeah, we have to take into account the price. It's like 15,000, something like that, right?
I think 13,500 netto in Germany.
Yeah, so
before tax.
Yeah, will be important since we are talking about other cameras. So Robin is asking, Blackmagic 12K sensor are over 80 megapixels. Do you think Eternal sensor performs better image quality wise? So that's a very interesting question. I think the thing what is mostly remarkable about this sensor in the 12K is that it has like this like the in-sensor scaling, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that it's not like your typical sensor, and everybody now in the industry, also Red and others, they have to kind of compete now with the sensor because it allows for high readout speeds, high dynamic range. So it's an RGBW sensor design. And from what I've seen, colors just look amazing, and you can shoot in RAW, either 8K, 9K, 4K, without cropping into the sensor. So that is a huge benefit, I would say.
Absolutely. That is something I think bigger brands should already do. So Blackmagic took the advantage and brought it into a camera with a nice form factor, nice size, nice weight. And I think, we haven't tested it out, to be honest. So we only had the 6K, and I was impressed by the 6K already. And to see a 12K version with the RGBW sensor is awesome. So I think they are also using it in the Ursa 17K.
In the 12K.
In the 12K. No.
The 12K. The 17K has a bigger sensor.
Yeah.
And depending on your preference, you can use the Ursa if you're working with a bigger crew, bigger people, where you need like a bigger camera. And for the solo-ish operator, you can use the Pixis. It's much more tailored for that one. So great move from Blackmagic to put that exact same sensor into the Pixis is wild for that price point.
But I think the only small downside is that you can't record in 6K with the Pixis 12K. I think it steps down from 12K, 9K, 8K, and then 4K. So you don't have the possibility to record in 6K, which is a nice thing to have because 4K is nowadays a common thing. So 4K is, I think, already necessary to have in film. If you're stepping it up, I think 8K is already overpowered. It's still overpowered because, where do you use 8K footage? And 9K and 12K is way over the top still. So I think it takes some years until 8K.
Yeah, so they told me on the booth like that's somehow not possible. It's definitely not a thing like that they want to protect the 6 or the Pixis 6Ks or the normal Pixis. It definitely has to do something with the sensor and the scaling that you can't, you just have those options. But I think, I feel the same way. 4K is just, I also like to record a little bit above what I'm going to deliver. So 6K would be the perfect speed spot, not too much resolution. 8K is already a little bit too much. So that's the only pill I have to swallow, but I mean for that price you can't really...
absolutely. So if you have a look, the Pixis 12K is about 6,000 around
something like that.
So if you compare it to the Eterna, that costs 16 after tax. 16,000, that's like 3 Pixis 12K there. That's crazy. So you can get 3 Pixis 12K or even I think nearly let's say 7, up to 7 Pixis 6K for one Eterna. So you can make that comparison with every other high-class camera. So you could say, okay, you can get like 10 Pixis 12K for Ari or so. So that's just a fun thing, note at the side.
One other camera is also, which has like a new option, which is also in that price range. So let's check on that one.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So we are talking about the Raptor XE, which is pretty interesting. They have released it because we know that the Raptor is already out. I think a few years. Then they came out with the Raptor X, having a global shutter sensor, and the X, so the E, so it's still the same global shutter VistaVision sensor as we have in the Raptor X, with the same dynamic range, which is awesome. And E stands for essential. So what they basically did is they cut off the frame rate, so you can record 8K 120 anymore. It's just 60 frames, which is still fine for most of the people, I think. And then there's also some broadcast features missing, and the ability with the extended highlight, which is basically like the camera takes multiple exposures at the same time and it's creating like an HDR image. Very similar to in the DSMC2 bodies, which was called HDRX. So you don't have that in there, but it's not too bad, and for the price, it's even lower than the Eterna, right?
Yeah, that's true. I think the V-Raptor XE starts at around 14,000. I think around 14,000, and yeah, you get a V-Raptor, you get red color science, you get a red global shutter,
yeah,
and you get still an awesome camera which competes with every other high-class camera, and for bigger productions and all that stuff, that's a crazy good camera. So you don't have these, extraordinary frame rates and all that stuff, but as the name says, essentials. You get all the necessary essential frame rates and codecs and whatever you really need. So if you want more opportunities, more options, you have to pay a higher price. That's normal. That's like everything. If you want a better car, you have to pay more for a better car. So if you want a camera that is able to shoot higher frame rates or whatever, you have to pay more. So I think that was a clever thing from Red to develop a camera with smaller specs, but still on the same quality level like the bigger brother.
Yeah, I think, I mean, we have seen that kind of trend over the last year, something like that, because also the Komodo dropped massively in price. Same with the Komodo X. So these cameras are starting to get way more affordable than they have been. And now also you have like an entry level for the top-notch model, which is the Raptor.
For the big players.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's a pretty cool move, and it's pretty, so I mean, like, it's in the middle, so you kind of have to decide, do you want to have like a Raptor, you want to have an Eterna, you will also want to have maybe the Blackmagic Ursa. So really depends what is your A-cam and what system you're going with. But
absolutely.
One thing is also that you can't really deny is also Red has a name in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a point, because the Fujifilm cameras are not that known in the film industry, but their lenses are. So Red has well-known cameras, and they're accepted through the whole industry, and they're known for their good quality, for their amazing colors and all that stuff that comes with the camera. So I think that was a clever move. Yeah, there's nothing else to say.
And there's also in the Nikon universe.
Yeah, let's stay with Red.
Stay with Red.
Let's stay with Red, because we talked about that camera in the first stream.
Yeah.
We managed to fool a well-known English-speaking rumors YouTuber, because he thought we were showing another camera we are talking later about. So the camera we are talking about is the Nikon ZR.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty cool camera.
Yeah, you have it here.
I have it here. So I mean, I showed it to some other people.
Your camera didn't switch.
at whoop. Oh yeah, yeah, that one. So yeah, I showed it to some other people, and they really thought like, oh, I have seen first videos, but it feels really nice. So I really have to say that it feels well made. This is a well made camera, and I think the colors, so what I've seen so far, just look amazing. And I haven't done a side-by-side test with the Komodo and with the Dragon, but so far, when I'm looking at the footage, it looks like red to me.
Yeah, so Davision is in the chat. I'm not sure if he's still there, but
Yeah.
he already was writing a comment. So we went out with David and had a quick shoot. Yeah, I forgot to put it.
Yeah, but you can check out the first video which on the channel here about. You can see some really cool sample footage of that one. So we'll do some proper testing now. I've shot a few things already with it. Some things are already annoying me. So let's start with the good things. The screen is just really amazing, I have to say. It's really big one. It's highly detailed, 4-inch, and it looks good. But the thing which really annoys me, which is, I don't know. So when you record in R3D, you can't turn. So you have to decide: do you want to have the LUT on, or do you want to have the focus peaking on?
Oh, okay.
So focus peaking only works if you're seeing the log image, not with the LUT on. But interestingly, it works in all the other modes. So if you record a Nikon RAW or ProRes RAW, which is all the other flavors that the camera has, or H.265, it does that, which makes sense, but not in R3D. So. And also, what would be interesting is the color different, because you're not recording in log 3G10 anymore if you switch to H.265. So then you are back in N-log. So we'll see if the colors differ. Yeah, but already 6K, 60 FPS in this little camera is...
And we have to mention the price as well, because the price is, I think that's that's the thing everybody is interested about. So that camera is retailing about 2,300 euros or so, 2,400 about. So that's a crazy thing. You have a really small form factor. You have a lightweight camera. You have red color signs on board, which is crazy. So I think Nikon did the only right thing to build our own camera with red color signs inside.
I mean, it's just the start. There are a few things, since this camera is so small, they made some compromises. So
some poor compromises, to be honest.
Yeah, the switch here on the camera here is just a button to press on and off the camera. So I rather would have a switch, because if you turn it on, then the camera goes into deep sleep and you go back to the camera, you don't know if it's on or off anymore, because you don't see it on a switch. So.
Yeah, and for example, if you use it on a shoot and you accidentally manage to press the on and off button, even if you don't want to shut it off or turn it on or whatever, I think turning on is not that problem, but if you're turning it off while shooting, that would be, that's not so nice thing. And that's something that's not so cool. Another thing is that I'm a little bit disappointed about is that they don't manage to give it a full-size HDMI port. So you only have micro or mini?
Micro.
So you only have micro HDMI. And personally, I'm not a fan of micro HDMI because, we all know micro HDMI is not that stable like the full-size HDMI. It's a little bit wobblier, and you can easily kill that.
I mean, I kind of think what Nikon was thinking when they developed that, they maybe thought about, hey, you have already a big screen on the camera and you don't need to have an external monitor, which I agree, but then there are some essential things missing on the screen. So you don't have false color. So, and the waveform that you're seeing is really small. So judging exposure is kind of a tricky one. So therefore, false color would be nice. And also, the first shooting that we did, we recorded anamorphic with the Blazer Mantis. So, and also the screen doesn't support any anamorphic D-squeeze.
Yeah.
So we had to use an external monitor, which was a little bit of a pain. So it wouldn't be that big of a deal if those mentioned features would be in there. But luckily for Nikon, it's something that can be fixed via firmware.
Yeah, absolutely. Another downside, in my opinion, is that you don't have a proper grip. So the camera is pretty small. So you don't have like a normal, like Sony, Panasonic or whatever, you have that small grip and you can have a better grip on the camera body itself. Nikon or that Nikon ZR, certainly, ZR, yeah, it doesn't have that. And it was pretty weird to hold the camera longer because throughout the shoot we were hiking and you had the Mantis, you had the external monitor, you had a V-mount and the follow focus as well, and it was quite hard to hold that camera because you had not a proper grip, so there was no cage there, so that was a little bit of a downside.
Yeah, and also the issue is, I mean, you can have a cage, but you only have one thread. So when you have a cage on here, it can happen that, there's no other threads to properly secure a cage, which is also okay. But I think a great one is that they put in 32-bit audio internally. So also when you plug in a microphone, whatever it is, it directly has a 32-bit float. So yeah, that's
a pretty cool thing, and I think that's another crucial thing that speaks for that camera, because having 32-bit float internal recording, we all know 32-bit float is king. So yeah, that's a good thing to have internally, and not having an external thing like Panasonic or Sony or whatever. You only have to plug in a 3.5mm headphone jack or whatever, and then you can record this 32-bit float, which makes it pretty versatile.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a pretty interesting start. It's the first camera which Nikon developed together with Red, and I think they target this camera, which is more like a Sony ZV-E1 type size camera.
Yeah.
So, but I think there could potentially become another camera which is more like the body of the FX3, so better grip and more threads and stuff like that, and maybe some other features. So, and yeah, I mean, this is a great camera, and especially for other owner operators which already shoot on Red, this is a great B or even C cam.
Yeah, absolutely, or a crash cam, to be honest.
Yep.
For that price, it's a perfect crash cam for bigger productions, to be honest, because for our small productions, 2,500 is not kind of a crash cam.
I mean, like, what is great is also the dual base ISO, 800 and 6400. So I haven't seen a camera with red colors looking that good at ISO 6400. So yeah, that's I mean, pretty interesting, I would say.
Absolutely, I think that camera speaks for itself.
Yeah.
And another small thing is the storage solution, the media storage solution.
So yes, they have, like, as you can see it here, you have the CF Express Type B slot. So as you know, in all the compact camera, it's down here. And then you also have a micro SD slot, which is, I don't know, you cannot even relay record on that. So interestingly, the camera has no fan, no active cooling inside, but it doesn't overheat. So, I mean,
oh, the shooting we had outside was pretty warm day?
I mean, I think it doesn't overheat as long as you record in RAW, because then the processor inside has to do less work. But if you record in a compressed codec like ProRes or H.265, the processor has to kick in, and then it will probably overheat. So, and you don't have a compression for R3D, which you have in the other RED cameras. And I mean, the great thing is about RED is not only, it's of course the R3D codec, which is amazing. Check the boxes on that one. The colors, probably also checked the boxes on that one. But the other thing is the usability. RED is so simple to use. You just look at the screen, you know if anything is over or underexposed, because they have that awesome feature about the goalposts and stuff like that. And you don't have the same experience here.
Yeah. I think to summarize it for Nikon, would you say, as we mentioned in the first episode of Auto Exposed, is it a true FX3 killer?
Yeah, tough question to answer. So it depends on the perspective. I think from what the camera offers, 6K RAW at 60 frames, yes. It doesn't have the full-size HDMI, doesn't have the grip and also the threads from the body-wise. So yeah, also it has a stabilized sensor, whereas the next camera, which we're talking about, doesn't have that, right?
Yeah, correct. So as I mentioned before, we fooled someone.
Yeah.
We fooled someone who was thinking about, we were using, the new Canon EOS C50.
Right.
Instead, it was the Nikon ZR. So we managed to fool Rumors YouTuber. He took snippets from our video we took together with David.
From David's.
From David's video, yeah.
From David's video.
Was pretty funny to see and to read through, and they said, "Oh yeah, that's the C50." And we saw the first pictures, and it's a video and all that, and we were sitting in the office and we were laughing because we said, "Oh God, how wrong you are."
Yeah, true. All right, let's wank in the. Do we have the screen, also the footage?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, we have some footage of the C50 here.
So the body is pretty nice. So this is more like an FX3 type camera. So it has a proper grip. It has some threads. It's still small, but also still great. And it was also kind of so it has no ND, full frame, 7K sensor, open gate. I think it does a pretty interesting thing. If you record open gate, you can choose that the camera will automatically save for you a version in 16:9, but also 9:16.
Oh, okay, that's crazy.
That's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, you get like you could already say typical 15 stops of dynamic range. I mean, it's a pretty cool camera, but I was like talking about the thing. It has no stabilized sensor.
Yeah, but is it really necessary to have a stabilized sensor if we're talking about filmmaking cameras? Because all bigger high-class cameras don't really have a image stabilization.
I mean, the thing is, can we go back to us?
Yeah, of course.
I think the issue is here. Of course, you have the normal mirrorless cameras from Canon, which have IBIS, and yeah. But the thing is, in cinema, you also want to rig the camera to a car or maybe to an FPV. And then you have the problem that the sensor, you can lock it, but it's kind of a magnetic lock. And due to all the strengths, that are going on if you have it rigged on a car or on an FPV drone, it throws off the locking. So you need kind of a locked sensor. So therefore, the small camera here is probably not suited for those types of situations, so the Nikon, whereas the C50 is. And that's actually also the reason, if you kind of remember, if we go back in time. So Lumix released back in the day the GH5, which had IBIS, and then shortly after they released the GH5S, which was exactly targeted for this market without a stabilized sensor.
Oh, okay, interesting. Didn't know that, to be honest. So I'm personally, I do like if the camera has a sort of a image stabilization internally, because for handheld shootings and all that kind of stuff, I think it's a necessary thing to get smooth shots, to get a nice looking image. And if you have a higher class cinema camera which has no IBIS, then you mostly have systems around that camera which does that for you. So I think if you're using high class cameras which don't have any IBIS on board, because they don't need it, because they have a big workaround to achieve smooth images, I think for smaller, more cheaper options, it's nice to have an IBIS inside.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we will get to the point sometimes that the camera can have an IBIS, but it can be locked that way that is also suitable for like FPV shots and stuff like that. Oh yeah, we have also what Robin is saying. This is what a small form factor cinema camera body. Yeah, that's also why the FX3 was so successful, yeah. And I totally agree. If you can IBIS completely off, then I would have loved to see IBIS in the C50. Yeah, and Consti. I was the winner on the event. Yeah, he's referring to the post IBC from Teltec. So yeah, glad that you won that camera.
Congratulations.
Yeah, tell us when you get it how it is. But I think it's a really nice camera. I mean, it was like really hard even to film that B-roll that day, because whenever I got to that Canon booth, there were thousands of people which wanted to try out that camera.
Yeah, and Canon was not able to send us a sample until now, because they don't have any available.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're still looking forward for that camera to test it out and to get our hands on. I
mean, dynamic range should be pretty great. It also shoots RAW inside. Oh, Jesus. That's a pretty interesting name.
GGDFGGDFGDFF.
So the IBIS isn't suitable for filmmaking. The C50 is a cinema camera, but the S1 is definitely for documentary running. Nikon are perfect for bloggers. Yeah, I think it's totally is what we have to what we just said about. It's more suitable for solo type shooters if you have like IBIS, and also not having IBIS is also in a workflow with bigger cameras, with bigger sets. Yeah, now I have to pay 2,000 for a lens. I can advise you maybe going not with an RF glass. So I personally use EF lenses, or so you can easily look out for adapters to EF, and then using small vintage glass, which is amazing. I love that. You obviously don't have autofocus and stuff like that, but focusing manually is a craft which is really important.
So in my beginning days of filmmaking, I was always relying on autofocus, and so many times I got completely lost because the autofocus one was not working like I wanted to have it to work. So it was focusing on the incorrect object, and the focus was breathing. Then it swapped during the shoot and all that stuff, and that was something that made me crazy. And since I started working with you, funny thing, I got into manual focusing more and more, because we always use manual focus lenses because we have a lot of cine lenses which don't have any autofocus included, or we're using vintage lenses because the look of these vintage lenses is just amazing. So I learned focusing manually, and I do it nowadays only because, yeah, it's, I think, more versatile in filmmaking to get the shot accurate.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's nice to have autofocus in some situations.
Yeah.
So don't get me wrong on that.
No,
But
absolutely
when
not.
I remember back in the day when I got my very first cinema camera, which was the Blackmagic Pocket, I was also thinking about, leaving Canon now, leaving the autofocus, how I would do my shots without autofocus. And you are limiting yourself, kind of.
Yeah.
And I was able to do all the shots that I wanted without autofocus. You need to adapt to the situation not having autofocus.
Yeah.
But it's definitely doable. And yeah, I mean...
Yeah, absolutely, because autofocus is an electronic thing. You have to rely on that technique.
Yeah.
So if the technique fails, you failed in doing your job. So if you can focus manually and you can nail your focus with your bare hands, that's skill, and that is some skill you need in filmmaking, in my perspective. And if you have the opportunity or the possibility to use autofocus in some situations like tracking or like social media content or whatever, it's nice to have. And I would use it if I can, because it makes your way easier. It also makes your life easier. It makes some situations much more comfortable. But if I really have to rely on a perfect focus, I would go manual all the time.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're on a gimbal and stuff like that, absolutely, it's good to have autofocus, but there are also third-party options like DJI Focus Pro and stuff like that. But I think we are a little bit getting off topic here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm pretty excited about the Canon C50. I mean, colors should be well. Oh no, comments are going crazy. Is there a market demand for 3D video? Canon has lenses for this. Is there any opportunity to make money in this area? I think it's a pretty niche market right now.
Absolutely.
And I mean, if you're, the question is really, is there really a demand in the market? I think it's...
I think not 3D, but so some video like virtual reality. I think virtual reality will be much more important in the future because you can do so many interesting things with virtual reality. I think that's something that will be nice to have in the future, but 3D video, I'm not sure. I think there are some areas where 3D video is nice to have or would pay good money, but it's so specific, so it's hard to say something.
So Consti is asking, do you have any suggestions for vintage lenses that work for both photo and filmmaking? So also for photos, that means you have to take, you have to work with manual focus, right? I personally bought the Zeiss Contax lenses. So
we're using them right now.
Yeah, we are using them on all the 3 cameras right now. I have 4 of them. We have on the wide, we have the 25. Then we have on that one the 85. And then here we have the 50, but with a Super 35 crop. So I think they render the image really nicely with a little bit of bloom and stuff like that. So you can get them for pretty cheap. I got mine, each lens, for around 150. You kind of have to check on the condition of the lens, right? And you obviously have to maybe rig it out. I replaced all the mounts with an EF mount, but you can also adapt to the M42 mount, which these lenses probably have natively. So yeah,
my favorite vintage lens all the time, Helios 44-2. I absolutely love that lens.
Yeah.
The image quality, the look, the bokeh, it's just amazing. I do love that lens. It's I think 58 millimeters.
58, yeah.
58, yeah. And if I have to choose a lens, I would always go with the Helios 44 because I'm in love with that look and I'm in love with that feeling of that lens. It has that smooth, vintage, dreamy look, and I adore that.
The great thing about Contax is they use like the same glass elements as the Zeiss Super Speeds, which were really high quality premium filmmaking lenses. And if you want to have one of those lenses today, you pay like 200,000 for one lens, and it's really hard to get one. So they use the exact same optics, which is pretty cool. But obviously, yeah, the Helios 44 has an awesome look.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I don't really get the comment what lens I'm shooting on when I'm shooting a YouTube video. But whenever I'm using that specific lens, especially filming outside in like a forest environment, I got multiple comments on the same video, which lens did you use?
Yeah. I think it was a video where we tested out the Canon C80.
Yeah, but I think the video I'm referring to is where we have the where we're talking about the 5 top features of Lumix.
Ah, yeah, I know. We shot in the park up there.
We shot it in the park, so it was like a foresty environment, loads of bokeh.
And the sun was pretty low as well, so it went through the leaves. And directly hit the lens.
It was pretty nice, but also it's also hard to find a copy that's great. I also had a few of them which weren't working that great. So yeah. One
lens I really want to try out because the look should be pretty similar to the Helios is from 7 Artisans. The Spectrum, I think. Spectrum or Vision. I'm not sure which model is the correct one for full frame. But they, like the videos I saw online on YouTube, the look and the feeling of that lens was so similar to the Helios. And they have 4 different prime lenses with all the same look. So I really looking forward testing these out one day because I do love the look from the Helios.
Should be great, yeah.
Would you use a different lens for wildlife photography film? Yeah, I wouldn't use the Helios for that, to be honest.
I mean, in that specific situation, you probably will need like a telephoto lens.
Super telephoto.
Yeah. Just recently, we are shooting a project for a zoo here, and I usually don't have a telephoto lens, so the tightest focal length that I own is 85 millimeters, so that one right here. But obviously, if you want to film animals, usually you can't go that close. No. So, for example, birds or something like that. And therefore, I was really lucky that just right before we had that shoot, Panasonic hit me up and was asking like, hey, if I want to test the 100 to 500, and that lens did an awesome job. I mean, it has an aperture of 5 to 7.1, so I can't really remember the day when I was shooting the whole day outdoors without an ND filter and was still using the second native ISO of 5000 because I was always like on a 7 or f8.
Oh, wow, okay, crazy.
But yeah, I mean, that I probably would save a couple bucks for. I think what could be a cheap option is getting a 70 to 200, an old one.
But to be honest, for wildlife and
but you can use a 2x extender.
Yeah, so I had a conversation with a good friend of mine. He's doing a lot of photography in wildlife and animals. He's a Sony shooter, and so I had a talk recently with him, I think last week or so, and we talked about, because I said I'm quite interested in trying it out once. So he knows good spots for animals and all that stuff. So I said, yeah, I would love to try it out to film, because yeah, photos are awesome. Photos are hard to get, but film is, I think, even harder. And I think for wildlife, autofocus is crucial because animals are sometimes moving pretty fast. They're just looking out their hole or whatever just for 2 to 3 seconds, and you need to nail that autofocus or the focus there. So it's hard to manually focus in that specific area. So I would say for wildlife or animals or whatever, or sport, you need a proper autofocus and a telephoto lens which goes, he said you need 400 millimeters at least. Better is 600 to 800 because you want to get as close as possible to the action, but not too close with your whole body and camera and all that stuff, because the wildlife animals are so scary. Then you would scare them away so fast and you wouldn't have the possibility to get any pictures.
I mean, in a zoo, most of the animals, like the bigger ones, they're kind of, they kind of know that there are people and they are not that afraid anymore. So, but for example, birds or other animals, also I was filming like is it a kangaroo? I think.
You shot some kangaroos, some deer, some ducks as well. Your favorite animal?
Flamingos. So therefore it was great to use like that lens, and of course the autofocus helped me, and also the IBIS, because I was filming handheld, even at 500 millimeter. It was crazy stable, which is amazing. Crazy. But obviously, of course, if you're that much zoomed in and you're trying to focus on the front of the lens, it gets even more shaky. So I think I personally would start buying 70 to 200. There are some older ones. I think I once used the 70 to 200 from Canon EF with an f4 without image stabilization, which was pretty cheap. And if you get a 2x extender, you get all the way up to
800.
400.
400, yeah, sorry.
And then if you crop in to the sensor, like getting Super 35, then you have like an equivalent of maybe 500 to 600, something like that. So maybe just starting out with that, seeing how it goes, and then
I think another opportunity would be the Sigma 60 to 600. That's a pretty big lens, to be honest, but you get all the way from 60 millimeters to 600 millimeters. So maybe that lens would be something interesting as well. But I think the price is over 2,000. I think it's around 2,200 to 2,400 or so. So I think if you want a cheaper option, that's not the thing you should go with. But I think Canon has some proper EF lenses which would fit that stuff pretty good. Like Robin is saying, the Sigma 60-600 f4.5 to 6.3.
Do we have some honorable mentions of the IBC? I think one thing which is great, Kippertie teamed up with a company that I don't know how it's called, but they kind of released an adapter for PL, which has a crystal ND inside. So an electronic ND inside, which goes up from 2 to 7 stops. And if you want to swap out the ND, you can insert like a clear one. This technology still needs power, so you need to run kind of a cable to the adapter. Or does it have a battery or something? I don't really remember, but it's, I think it's a step in a cool direction.
Absolutely.
And also on post-IBC dual lens, they had pretty cool lenses. So they had like the new Cambrian lenses, which cover, I think, already medium format or something like that. F2.0, and they have like a so they're pretty compact, and they also have a pretty cool vintage look. I never got into the the Apo primes that they have, because they all have a T stop of 2.4, which is for prime set, I would love to have some faster ones, but from the look, they really are great.
Yeah, absolutely. And the new ones have a T1 2.0, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Every.
And you also talked about Sigma.
Yeah, true. I mentioned that Sigma is, or the stuff I read about was on the Sigma website. So I think their new set of Cineprimes available soon. They're called AYZU.
Mm-hmm.
AYZU.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a pretty awesome, I think T1.3 I mentioned.
That's wild.
So you get I think they're planned to be 12 different prime lenses. So there will be an 18mm, 21, 25, 35, and up to I think 135 millimeters. But only I think 8 or so are available now, and the price is pretty high, to be honest. So you pay around I think 8,000 a lens. So
yeah,
the whole set will cost you around 80,000 plus.
I mean, having such a fast lens is great. By the way, guys, if you have any further questions, I think we are on kind of the end of our topics now. So if you have any further questions, so just type them in. But yeah, just having fast lenses like this is great, because you have like you know, you have I think also Nisi has launched the new Aureus lenses, which have
the Aureus primes,
a T1.5. So this is crazy. So going that fast is really great for low light these days, and it's really helpful. And that's why I'm personally pretty interested in those lenses.
Yeah, but the only downside is I think you only get them in PL or E-mount, so Sony E-mount or PL.
Yeah, definitely PL, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the standard for cinema lenses, so kind of makes sense. Interestingly about those lenses, also the 18mm, which they have, also has a T1.5, which is wild, because the Athena lenses also, they all featured a T1.9, except for the 18mm, which was T2.4. So it's obviously pretty hard to build wide-angle lenses with such a fast aperture. So great that they managed that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there something else about IBC? Let me think about.
Oh, I think we haven't. So on post IBC, I haven't seen the Alexa Extreme, but it was announced before IBC.
Yeah, we talked about that camera in the previous episode.
Yeah, exactly. But apart from that, camera-wise, I think we have.
I only think that Sony released a new camcorder on IBC. I think it's called PWX 300 or so. I'm not totally sure about the correct name. It's a camcorder style camera. Maybe all of you know what I mean with the Sony standard camcorders. It's mentioned for documentary style filmmaking. It's made for news reporters and all that. And two cool features I have in mind still when I read through the specs. So this Sony camera now has AI built into the camera for the autofocus and the tracking. So the autofocus is detecting the what was it? It's detecting a human, not like all the other trackers. It's detecting it by something pretty special. I'm not really sure what it was, so I don't want to say anything incorrect here. And another thing is, which is pretty cool, they now have something developed that embeds your signature into the metadata of your video, so you always know who was the creator or the person who took that video material. So that's something that's, I think, important in the news part and all that stuff. So yeah, footage is...
Fun fact, if we're talking about these camcorder style cameras, when we were at Teltec post IBC, a guy from Teltec told me, because they also have like a different branch or company which is called I don't know what it's called, but the story he told us is basically that at some point some people broke into their warehouse and got everything out of the warehouse except the JVC camcorders. Well, it's kind of funny. So they thought like,
I think the thieves already knew what's good and what's not.
Yeah, we don't need that, so just keep it there.
I think Grass Valley also announced a new camera at IBC, but I don't know any specs about that camera.
Yeah, at post IBC, it's also kind of in social media right now. We saw it also at ECE. It's the Pixboom. It's kind of a slow motion camera, which has a full metal body. It can shoot 4K up to, I think it was like 1,000 frames or something like that.
I think even higher.
Yeah, so I don't know the correct specs now. It's and we will also have it on the Creator Summit. So and also we will have a big. I don't know if we will give away that camera, but we have a pretty extensive giveaway also at the end from camera bodies and stuff like that. So
I think we were giving away gear for around 30,000 last year.
Yeah, that was wild.
And I think next year will be
a Pixis,
even more.
R5 II, so and all the other stuff. So that was amazing. So yeah, I mean.
So Consti, if you want another camera or accessory like
yeah, exactly.
I don't know, lenses, software. Yeah, just come to the Creator Summit.
Yeah, I think that wraps it up for this video talking about IBC. I think thank you guys for the great conversations we had in the comments. And yeah, just check out for the next episode, which will be like in a month or so. Again, talking about camera rumors and everything, the latest news in the camera world. And yeah,